Hello. Channel 309 for those that are watching us on free-to-air satellite. You can follow us on MO17 and soon you can follow us on Star Times. And for those that are watching online, you can follow us on My Media Prime TV on Facebook. Just go to My Media Prime TV on Facebook and like the channel, and you'll be able to follow us, or go to YouTube and follow us on BT Media Group. And of course, other local channels in Cameroon are relaying us like Sweetcom and so on and so forth. So also feel free, ladies and gentlemen, to join the conversation. You might have some business ideas, you might be having difficulties in your entrepreneurship journey, and you want to know how to go about it. Feel free to join us by sending a message or asking questions to our guest using the number you find on your screen. Of course, the number is available on WhatsApp. Ewane, coordinator of Accelerate Africa. Can we know from you what Accelerate Africa, the mission of Accelerate Africa, what prompted you to come up with this project? Yeah, thank you so much, Elvis. Thanks for having me. Greetings to all the viewers. Accelerate Africa is a Pan-African concept created last year and was officially launched in Rwanda by some 10 entrepreneurs from different countries with main mission to support the African economic private sector across different sectors in Africa. When we talk about support, we mean basically
5 on 5. We are really sorry for that. Portia Masimula, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So can you tell us more about South Africa as a business destination for Africans?
Okay, I think South Africa is really transforming and catching up with the world when it comes to technology and entrepreneurship. It's starting to open up and, looking at currently the young people are getting into the entrepreneurship space. Young people are evolving, they're getting into the technology space. Yet, however, we still need to invest more on entrepreneurs and giving them support, sufficient support that they need, which is, I feel like we still lack that. And we don't have much, investors in South Africa. The potential is there. Young people have got so much appetite to get into entrepreneurship, into technology. But yet I feel like in terms of investment, we still lack a lot. And as an entrepreneur, you've got an idea, you're excited about it. You simply can't implement it without having the proper support and having the financial support. You know what I mean? So, but at least we are trying. Our government is trying really hard, to create some programs that cater for entrepreneurs, that support entrepreneurs with getting them mentorship, people that can mentor them in different industry. So these programs as well, they do help. Like for instance, Accenture that has a ESG program, which is the Supplier Enterprise Development, which it really helps because I was also part of that program. So it's one of the programs that really help us and our company to move forward and to have this growth that we have at the moment. So we are not there yet, but we are slowly trying to get. Because remember, most of African countries, we were not raised to be entrepreneurs. And we only knew one thing, that after school, getting a degree, find a job. So it's still slowly but surely, getting to that entrepreneurship ecosystem. It's going to take a while, but yeah, they are trying to open up. Our government is really trying. The private sector is trying really to create meaningful programs that really help entrepreneurs in South Africa.
Okay, thank you, Portia Masemola. We're going to get back to you just to indicate, based on confirmation coming in from our technician. Apparently, we don't have any issue with Precious' Solar's sound. It's just that, as you know, he did everything possible to be part of the show, but unfortunately, he's on transit. So from time to time, he's on transit and his driver is with him. And of course, since he had accepted to be part of the show, he decided to honor our invitation. So we want to tell our viewers that please kindly bear with us if at one point from time to time you discover that his network is not really the best, because sometimes when you're driving and you might get to some areas where network is not really the best, and at that particular point you might not really get him well. But of course he is with us in the show. Mr. Gilbert Ewane, coordinator of Accelerate Africa, CEO of Startup Cap, founder, managing editor of Yes Cameroon. Of course, you have so many caps that if I want to keep, and of course, CEO of Real Estate and Assets Management. Before we dive into the topic, I want us to take a look at the public service mentality in Africa. Where most of the time we are taught in school that after your first degree or after your master's degree, all you need to do is to write competitive entrance examinations into institutions, and if you don't succeed there, you can just sit home and say the country is bad. Of course, that is what is happening. What do you have to say about this public service mentality? Is this a right or a wrong mentality?
Yes, Elvis, I think you are very right, but I want to assure you and tell you, taking us 10 years back, the mentality is gradually changing because a lot of young people, like you heard Portia Masemola from South Africa said, a lot of young people, they are starting to understand the culture of entrepreneurship, which is the key. The public service mentality is is sickling, actually, because a lot of young people in those days, most of them wanted job security. They wanted to go to school, come out and work for the government, such that they have monthly salaries, they have financial security at the end of the month, they have pension at the end of their career. So all these are the kind of components that push young people in those days to focus mainly on the public service mentality. But like I said earlier, it is becoming gradually, is changing, because a lot of young people today, they're very innovative, they're creative, they're proactive, and they just need the support for us to change completely the mentality. And again, like you said, it's unfortunate. The school system too has made it that way. I always say the school system in Cameroon and Africa is like you go to school, you read the following passage and answer the following question. At the end of the day, you come back naked. That's why you see our master degrees holder, they have the master degree, but they don't master anything. It's unfortunate.
Okay, and let me get the perspective of Precious Isola from Nigeria, of course, Africa's most populous nation. I want to know from Precious about how excited are young people in Nigeria when it comes to working for the public service? Is it the dream of every young man in Nigeria? Or in the absence of Precious, I pose that question to Portia. Portia, in South Africa, of course, which is one of Africa's most developed economies, how excited are young people when it comes to the public service compared to their excitement for entrepreneurship?
Well, Iris, it depends because, I mean, young people, if I look at young people around, from the age of 18 to 35. And if you look at it, they're no longer really excited of being in the government sector, because if the reality is that the government is trying, yes, but I feel like their requests and the systems that they were created, they're still very laid back. And which is, I think young people are feeling that the public sector is delaying them in terms of growth, in terms of growth. So that's why people now, young people are becoming, entrepreneurs, are becoming tech, getting into the tech space. They're doing things for themselves, and it's because of the government. They still have the old, structures and the systems and all of that, which it does not really accommodate the young people. Young people have young minds and very creative minds, and they want to create things. They want to rearrange their whole structures, So I feel like the government is there, but I feel like they have to change. They must have a new mindset, different mindset. If they want really the young people to take part or to be part of the economy, the mindset needs to change completely. We have to change, rearrange those policies, rearrange those structures, and make it sure that everything that is designed, the policies that are designed, accommodate the young people, because young people are the future. You're seeing most of people that are sitting on government. It's people that are already old, and they still have that old mindset. But for us to move with times and to accommodate the young people, we need to change the policies. New policies need to be implemented, new structures, so that those new policies they can accommodate the young people and allow them to be part of the mainstream of the economy. So I believe that it can be done, but we just need to, give young people opportunities to say because for instance, I'm an entrepreneur. I know what's on the ground. I understand what entrepreneurs need. And you find those people who are sitting there, somehow they don't understand the entrepreneurship route. The only way for us to move forward and to dominate in the economy as Black people, as an Africans, we have to instill entrepreneurship and support young people.
Thank you, Portia Masemula. We get now to Precious. Precious Isola. I would like to understand the excitement of young people in Nigeria when it comes to working for the public service.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So it is no longer news in Nigeria because so for instance, Nigeria has one of the highest unemployment rates in Africa as a whole. So when it comes to public service, in fact, there has been a lot of announcements and a lot of things from the government talking about how there are limited spaces in the public service, right? So and then in Nigeria, for instance, we've had a lot of privatization of government agencies, government establishments, actually. So when it comes to public service, there's a lot. I would say there's less. You have less people going into the space. Actually, there's a lot of investment, and there's also a lot of focus in the private sector. Basically, I hope I answered your question.
So let's talk about diagnosing factors that are stopping young people from engaging in business ventures across the continent. Many of them, when you talk to young people from time to time, you see that they have great ideas. Some of them really want to get involved in business, but most of the time they will tell you that they don't have available capital or the necessary resources to be able to get into business. How can we stop that? What are you doing at the level of Accelerate Africa to ensure that young people have access to the necessary capital, at least for those that are doing it as small and medium-sized businesses, that they have access to capital to be able to help them launch their ideas?
Yeah, Elvis, you know, one of the key difficulties for young people this time around, for them to set or put their idea into action and become great business people and become millionaires in future, one of the key challenges is the training. Majority of them, like I was saying earlier, when they left school, they wanted to write public exams. Once they write 1, 2, 3 and they don't get it, they start thinking now about entrepreneurship. They just venture into it without no preparation, no training, no mentorship, no coaching, so it becomes very tedious. That's number one. Number two is seed capital. Seed capital is one of the biggest challenge. But I would say, unfortunately, a lot of these startups, a lot of these entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, they don't get themselves ready before saying, I'm looking for seed capital. So it becomes very complicated, because if you are looking for seed capital and they give you, let's say $1,000, which you are unable to even manage $100, so it becomes a problem. So the mindset or the business management structuring, all those things is very, very, very important. And then number three is we'll talk about the business climate in Cameroon, business climate in Africa, across Africa, which is very, very challenging. You remember COVID. COVID exposed the business climate in Africa. COVID exposed the weaknesses of business institutions in Africa. So these are some of the things. The business climate in Africa is not the best. For example, it's true some African government, they are trying to make the business climate favorable. Like I'll take the case in Rwanda, which I master very well. Business registration in Rwanda is very simple. You go online, you register your business, in 6 hours, you have your business papers. You can start operations. In some other countries, they'll tell you 1 week, 1 month, all those things. So business climate is one of the key challenges. Now, when I talk about business climate, you talk about the infrastructure development. It's a big problem in Africa. You have the internet. All those things put together, they make business very, very difficult in Africa. That is why you cannot compare business, young people running businesses in Europe, in Western world, and in Africa. So there are a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of challenges. I forgot one of them, which is the corruption. So all these things put together, they make it very difficult for young people who just start up businesses to venture and create work and create jobs for others in the process, which is a serious issue. But like I said earlier, some government, we're working very hard to ameliorate the situation. And I think in the next 5-10 years, we'll be talking about different challenges in Africa and not the one I've enumerated.
Thank you, Gilbert Ewane. Let me now get to Portia. Portia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Portia.
Yes.
We also discover here in Africa that many young people are very excited about making it out of the country. Of course, we keep saying that they are traveling for greener pastures, which gives the impression sometimes that the pastures here in Africa are not very green. Do you agree to the fact that, I don't know whether it's a fact, to the allegation that we need to travel out of Africa to look for greener pastures because the pastures here might not be so green, or maybe they are green and at the hands of the wrong people?
Well, I feel like, it's always lucrative to have an open mindset. We cannot just only focus on African opportunities. And if you want to grow, you're going to have to look beyond our surroundings. And that's what we're currently doing. Because there's a point where you reach the ceiling. And I feel like, I've started the company in South Africa, but I feel like, I've reached the ceiling and I want to explore more. There's nothing wrong of exploring more and finding what other countries are doing. And of course, going outside South Africa or Africa, it doesn't mean that you are just here to settle, but you are here to create opportunities and make sure that you take all the investment and the opportunities that you are creating here and take it back and plow it back to Africa. Because like I said earlier on, in South Africa, we've got a lot of opportunities, but the problem is the lack of financial. We don't have many investors that who can, invest in our projects, that who can put money in our project. So for me personally, I feel it's very imperative to look beyond the surroundings, which I encourage other entrepreneurs also to do that, because outside Africa also there are opportunities. Like I'm here now, for instance, in Germany, and when I get here, I'm seeing a lot of opportunities that I can explore. For instance, there's a lack of IT infrastructure. They were complaining about that. For me, I was like, oh, okay, this is an opportunity that I can seize. So in natural, for us, people should look beyond Africa. Formulate those collaborations, formulate those partnerships, because we need each other. I believe that as a nation, as people, we just need each other to build this African economy, and that we shouldn't limit ourselves. We should be open to partner up. For instance, if the European companies want to come to Africa, want to partner up with you, make sure that you seize that opportunity. Don't look at it as the other way around, because the main goal is to build our economy forward, guys. And yes, we are a bit behind as Africans, in terms of the economy expansion and all of that. But I feel like now now is our time for Africa to seize this opportunity, to formulate this strategic partnership outside South Africa, and make sure that whatever that we build, we take it home, we create and we empower, and also we make sure that the economy moves forward by creating job opportunity as well. But we cannot do that if we are just remaining in one, in one area. We have to be diverse. We must be open to engage with other people beyond Africa, and which is that I feel like I'm doing that currently. I'm here in Germany, and since I've been here, I've been visiting companies, and these companies have shown interest that they're willing to work with companies from Africa, because I think they have an understanding that we are a bit behind, but now are trying to catch up. Of course, our economy is slowly but surely opening up. So I feel like this is the right time for us really to step up our game.
Okay, thank you. Before we get to Precious, Mr. Gilbert Ewane, we have this question that has been sent in by one of our viewers that's watching, who has a seed capital of about $5,000 US, and he wants the business development experts in the show to help her make a decision. She wants to know whether she should use this money to invest in a business venture in Africa, or she should use the money and travel abroad, because she seems to be having a lot of pressure concerning the kind of decisions she should take with the $5,000 US seed capital she has on her table. What can be the best option for her at this particular point in time?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, Elvis. That's a very good one. I want to tell the viewer, $5,000 is much money as a seed capital to make it in Africa. Traveling in Europe with $5,000 is just bullshit. It is important first for the person to do a SWOT analysis of herself and a SWOT analysis of her business idea before you can venture in what business you want to do. Because if you decide that you want to invest maybe $5,000 maybe in restoration, you set up a small restaurant. With $2,000 even, you can set up a small restaurant, manage it, and then you just have the mission, just have the vision and grow. So simple advice, please, $5,000 is good enough. It's very, very good enough to start a business in Cameroon or anywhere in Africa and succeed. I know a lot of young people who have started businesses even just with $1,000, and they're making it big today. You just need to follow the right path and then get the right mentorship, get the right coaching, and then you blossom.
Okay, let me get the perspective of Precious Esola concerning this question that has been sent by a young lady who is watching the program and wants to know and wants the business development consultants in the show to give her advice about what she should do. She has $5,000 US seed capital and wants to know whether she should continue her studies out of the country. Of course, she says she has a bachelor's degree. She wants to know whether it's better for her to continue her studies or she should use the money and invest in Africa. Precious is solar. Hello, Precious? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Were you able to get my question?
All right, okay. Yeah, so it's a good question. And I will agree with the previous answer. That is quite a lot for us to opportunities that's going to bring it to people in Africa, to people in your country, right? And then when I understand the need, I understand the need to also travel out, to go out there for greener pastures and all of that. But I can tell you that if you are focused on your venture, if you are focused on your business or social enterprise, there's a way you will be able to attract other foreign opportunities, right? So build your business. I advise the girl to build his or her business, build your venture, and then see yourself get attracted to opportunities that are out there. So that's just my own.
Okay, thank you, Precious Solar. Let's now get to. I have another question now for Portia. Portia, of course, there are some people that are about to get into depression because of the so much talk about entrepreneurship in Africa. You know, most of the time, there are people that are working for companies, and of course, they are not doing badly. But at one point in time, because of so much focus on entrepreneurship in Africa, sometimes they start feeling depressed, thinking that probably, even though they are earning a lot, they are not comfortable because maybe the best way to go is entrepreneurship. Is it possible for you to work for someone and still be comfortable compared to being an entrepreneur? And will you advise young people in Africa to also take that route, that if they find themselves not equipped enough to get into entrepreneurship, it will be better for them to keep working for somebody?
Thank you so much, Aris. I think personally, what I'm saying, personally, I feel like, you know, not everyone is born to be an entrepreneur, and that's a reality. You know, there will be entrepreneurs, there will be people that were not, and that have to remain in the corporate sector. And for you, if it happens that you remain in the corporate sector, I always say try not to, you know, try to think out of the box, even though you are, because you can become an entrepreneur while you are in the corporate sector. Try to think out of the box. Try to associate yourself with people who have creative ideas. Share your ideas in the corporate. You don't necessarily have to own your own business, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are, I mean, before I was in corporate, I was a business analyst. So what you can do if you want to grow in a corporate space, align yourself with people who've walked the journey before you, who are in the industry with you, who are doing greater than you. You know, don't be a smarter person in a room. They always say that. You know, try to align yourself with people who, you know, mentor you in that particular aspect that you want, where you want to grow. You know, send them an email. You know, don't be afraid to send them an email and say, hey, this is my name. I want to become an expert in a particular, you know, sphere, and can you mentor me? Try to find mentors within your industry. You know, unless you've got of course, the courage to move out and start a company and all of, which is not easy as well. But you know, I believe that with the surrounding of mentors, you can do it, and don't underestimate yourself within the corporate. I mean, I believe that you can. There are people who are still doing very well, exceptional in the corporate space. You know, you can reach the hierarchy, like the executive level, director level. But of course, you can only do that if you align yourself with the people with knowledge, you know, empower yourself with knowledge, make sure that, you know, you don't stay in your corner, be visible, you know, share your ideas within the corporate, that shows that can move the corporate to the next level.
Let me come back.
You know, it's all about, yes.
Okay, let me come back to the question of the young lady who sent her question about the decision she can take concerning a 5,000 seed capital, $5,000 seed capital, which she already has, at her disposal and wants to know whether the best opportunity for her right now is to travel out of the continent and further her studies or stay back and you know, develop her own business. I mean, I want to get your own perspective, your own advice to her. And we lost Portia there. While we prepare to get Portia, I get to you now, Mr. Gilbert Ewane, our coordinator of Accelerator Africa. Of course, we now seem to understand that many young people in the continent right now, they are so much interested about continuous education. You see so many institutions across Africa, private institutions, higher institutions of learning, because the demand is really quite high. Everybody wants to get a master's in a particular domain. We have so many masters, which is not bad. We have so many masters in business administration in the country. But we discover that most of the time, or in some cases, some of those that are succeeding in business administration did not really have these certificates, while those who have the certificates sometimes are not really masters in that particular domain. Can you help us understand this paradox?
Yeah, coming to that, I think we have quite a good number of private and public institutions that train young people on business management and so on. But like I said earlier, most of them doing MBA and so on. Unfortunately, most of it is just barely literature. The real business is in the field. The real business is action. The real business is you do a lot of volunteerism. The real business is you do a lot of internship, professional internship for you to acquire skills. And most importantly, before you want to go and do any course or any professional course, try to make some kind of research and see where you can fit after graduation. It's very important, because some of young people, they just venture into studying, venture into courses just because they want to have the certificate. And at the end of the day, they start job hunting. And I always say job hunting is a job on its own. So it's actually kind of very difficult and crazy for young people find them around the street with certificate in their pocket hunting for jobs. So it is important, like I said earlier, I repeated it, I insist on it, try to make research on the various sectors, the very innovative sectors that can easily employ you after your graduation. And most importantly, try to understand the corporate world. The corporate world is a key today, because no employer, no company will employ you without the skills that the company needs. Because that's why you find most of them, when they are employed, at the end of first 6 months, 1 year, they lose their job because they don't have the skills. They mismatch their skills, that of what they learn in school and that of the corporate world. So it's always important for young people to really take their time and study the job market, because the job market today is saturated. Portia earlier said, not everybody can become an entrepreneur, but we have what we call intrapreneurship. If you cannot become an entrepreneur, become an intrapreneur. Entrepreneur is simply an employee who works with another entrepreneur within a company, and they are very proactive, they are very smart, they contribute, they take the company as their own. Even if you do not create the company, but insofar as you have that skills that you can give result, because all it's about result. The private sector is not like the public sector or the government sector, where you find most of people, you have laxity and so on. The private sector deals with result, deals with output. Once you are in a company and you are not able to give them that result, to give them that output, to give them what they need, and we're talking about benefit, about profit. Company to pay bills, they need to pay allowances, they need to pay this, pay this. But if you are within the company and you don't embrace the mission of the company, the vision of the company, and then it's going to be very difficult for you.
And before I get to Portia, I would like to understand, talking to some of those who are having masters in business administration, many of them have spotted some companies that are struggling in Africa, and sometimes they want to come in, and practice what they learned in school to be able to boost these companies. But from time to time, based on complaints I hear from them, I mean, they tell me that many employers are very scared to recruit people who have masters in business administration. Can we understand what happens? I mean, I know that you are not scared to highly skilled, but you are not scared to employ these people. But there are so many employers that you might be talking with that are sometimes scared to employ people that have these very high certificates.
Yeah, at times it's not all that great as that is goal. You might have the master in business administration and then cannot produce result. So any employer, that is going out for an MBA employee, there should be some, like the Frenchman will say, "Onge le maçon pied du mur." You should be able to, the MBA holder should be able to give the result. There are a lot of companies out there that seek this kind of people, but unfortunately, most of them, they cannot produce result. First of all, those who are training them at the level of the MBA, who are they? I always say 99% of economic or economists are very poor. Why are they poor? How do you train someone to become an entrepreneur, meanwhile you yourself are not an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurship is not literature, it's action, it's the field work. So you should produce, give out something that you think will create an impact at the end of the day, because entrepreneurs, they master the day-to-day challenges. You just take an economic professor to train young people, maybe people on MBA or whatever. They have never created even a small core shop. So how do you explain that? So young people, they need experience in the field. They need experience on the job for them to be very competent. Forget about your MBA, forget about your master's degree and so on. But it is the field, the result.
Thank you. Let me now get to Portia. I don't know who's supposed to talk now. I think it's Precious, right? I think it's Precious. Precious is right there. Precious, I'd like to know from you, I mean, how it is done in Nigeria, because especially in French African countries, most of the time, you discover that they pay a lot of attention to certificates. People, of course, you can be having a discussion with someone and the person is going to tell you, do you know who I am? I mean, I'm a PhD holder in this domain. We cannot even talk about it. We cannot talk about entrepreneurship because, I have a PhD in entrepreneurship. I'm a master of business administration, so I cannot. I mean, how is this done in Nigeria? Does Nigeria pay, employers, do they pay attention to certificates when it comes to employment, or they focus on skills?
All right. Okay, I'm just going to ask you. Yeah, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you. 4 or 5.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Good. Thank you. I think generally there's a shift from making certificates a necessity to gain employment, whatever form of employment, whether even employment in the gig economy, right? So, for instance, Donald Trump, the United States president, during his tenure, made a law to ensure that certificates are not a requirement, right, to gain employment and all of that. So, most entrepreneurs, most innovators here in Nigeria, and I'm sure most part of Africa, are people who never got an MBA. I mean, they never had an MBA. We've had a lot of successful entrepreneurs who never went for an MBA, right? We can see for examples of people like Bill Gates, successful tech entrepreneurs who are today billionaires and they were dropouts, like they depart from college. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, like the last speaker said, it's a practical about the passion that keeps one going, passion that makes one to learn unconventionally, right? So I would be quick to say that actually there are quite a lot of entrepreneurship programs entrepreneurs enrolled for, right? These are out of classroom programs, right? Fellowships, training and all of that, right? So, but when it comes to certificates and all of that, it's not really a requirement here. And even to hire talent as an entrepreneur and as a business person, when it comes to hiring talent people, it's first thing to consider actually is the skill set. That's the major thing. And most of the tech skills required today, even in the space of entrepreneurship, are not taught in school. They are not taught in the four walls of the classroom, right? So when it comes to certificates, is not really big deal, right? It's about passion that is driving the entrepreneur. You need the entrepreneur to learn in unconventional ways too. Yeah, thank you.
Get Portia's view on this. Portia is getting me now. Portia, if you were to make a choice or to advise young people about the kind of path they can take, taking the path of academic experience and what Gilbert Ewane most of the time refers to as University of Life Experience, which advice are you going to tell them? What are you going to advise them to take? Will you advise them to take the academic path or to focus on the University of Life Experience?
Personally, for me, I think life experience is more important, because the reason why I'm saying that, because if you look at our education system, there's a whole lot of faults that are happening. And for instance, if you look at South Africa, now, if you look at the unemployment rate, we are sitting on 16.7% unemployment youth. And these are the people who've got master's degree, who've got, honors degrees. And then you ask yourself, what went wrong with our system? So personally, I feel like if you've got the courage to go out there, explore life and find life experience, you will definitely conquer the world. Because if you look at our education system, it's more about theory. There's no practical. And we need to formulate programs that teaches people or give people, young people, skill, prepare them for the world, for the corporate world or for the business world, and give them practical skills, instead of just earning these qualifications that are useless, that are sitting there, and still you cannot do the job. So we need to create programs that prepare people for job, not theory, So when it comes to life experience, that's very important, because that propels you for life. That propels you to have a different mindset, to have an innovative mindset. Our education does not give us that innovative mindset. I personally feel like, I had my degree, but it didn't really help me. I had to go extra mile beyond that degree. I have to explore the world myself and see what is it that I can do something differently. What is it that I can create for myself? Because they don't teach us to be self-independent. If you look at these qualifications, they don't prepare us to be self-sufficient, but they prepare us to be just normal employees, which the world does not need that. The world does not serve that. The world requires people with a dynamic mindset who can change the world for better. And I feel like our education, we need to rearrange the whole education system, and that should be us, as young people, entrepreneurs, rearrange the whole education system, so that the young generation that comes after us could have an easy way out, could have those practical skills, guys. For instance, if you look at coding, most of Black people, they start coding when you get to varsity. That's already late. We need to teach our young people from the early age, give them the practical skills. You get to matric, you already know how to run an organization, how to do in an organization, how to operate in that. That's what we need. So what I'm saying, my advice to the young people, don't limit yourself with the degree that you have. Think beyond that degree. Go outside, look at what is it that I can do, what solution that I can provide. Think beyond that qualification, because I think that's the problem. That's why we have so much unemployment rate in Africa, because we depend so much on those qualifications. We depend so much, and that limits our thinking capacity. And for us to change the world, to disrupt the world, we need a different mindset. We need to have the Steve Jobs mindset. We need to have the guy who runs, the Microsoft. Those are the guys we have different mindset. We cannot just hold on our qualification, because what our education system was more implementing focus on theory. A theory is not going to take us. It's not going to enable us to change the world. We need practice. We need practical skills that will enable us to change the world and to be part of the economy, to be part of the mainstream of the economy. That's it.
Thank you,
Practical skills.
Portia, before I leave you and get to give Mr. Gibet Eweme, there's this question I want to really ask you, your advice to young ladies, because we discover that there are many many ladies who have the entrepreneurial mindset. I mean, they really have a lot to offer in terms of entrepreneurship. They have things to do. They have business ideas which they want to implement. But unfortunately, many of them seem caged, you know, when it comes to probably making a decision between realizing or pursuing their life goals and settling down as a housewife. And you discover that some of them complain most of the time that they are unable to really unleash their full potential, because at the end of the day, when they decide maybe to settle down, they settle down in the hands of someone, mostly men, who are not very comfortable with the fact that women want to really rise, you know, and get to lead positions of entrepreneurship and leadership. What do you have to tell these young ladies who find themselves in this kind of dilemma?
Iris, unfortunately, we are still living in a male-dominated industry. We are still living in it's a male's world, you know? And like, for instance, I'm gonna talk for myself before I can even advise to those ladies out there. Like, I chose this career and I realized that for me to settle down, it's not gonna work, because all you need as a woman, if you are an ambitious woman, you have to find an ambitious partner that who can complement you, you know. And I've had these scenarios so many times. You find women, they've got dreams, but now because the man that she's married to, that man does not support her dream. And it's been a major issue in Africa. Most of men still don't believe that women should go out there and pursue entrepreneurship and what. So you gotta have to make a conscious decision as a woman. What is it that you want to achieve in this world? You know, and decide if you're gonna go full for it, or. But if you are tied up married, it's very complicated, because you have to accommodate your partner. If your partner doesn't support you, it's gonna be very difficult. Like, for instance, with me, I'm not married, I don't have kids, and I've got my own reason why. Because I want to push my career first. Even though I could have my kids or a husband later, that will happen later. But for now, I'm very much driven, and I could see if I'm going to have kids, they're going to tie me down, you know, unless God provide with, a supportive husband. So women need to decide what they want to achieve. What is it that you want for yourself? You know, stop not looking at the other person. What are your goals? I mean, as girls, we grew up with crazy dreams, with crazy goals. And you're going to have to figure it out yourself. How am I going to achieve these goals? And don't allow anything to stand on your way and say, okay, anything, unless that partner that comes into your life can complement your goals, can complement your dreams. And then you can fall for that. But if you're going to meet a partner who's not going to be supportive to your dreams and to your ambition, then you can't settle for that. Because at the end of the day, as women, we are also here on this earth to be great, to do something amazing for our kids as well. If you've got kids, I mean, you want your kids to look at you and say, wow, I want to be like my mom. Look at my mom, how inspirational she is. You know, it's not necessary that we're all going to get married, we're all going to have kids. My career comes first. My career comes first, unless I meet someone who complement my dreams and who can support my dreams. If not that the case, then I'm sorry, I can't.
But Portia, I mean, I don't know how easy that can be, looking at it from your perspective or from the perspective of women, the kind of advice you can give. Is it that easy for women to be able to ignore that emotional aspect of life? I mean, to be able to just ignore the hormones and just say, okay, I ignore the emotional part and I ignore the hormones and I dive into entrepreneurship. Is that really going to make women comfortable?
Aris, you know, there's different story for different folks. For other women, it's not easy, of course. You know, they can't ignore that emotional aspect, because of some women want to settle down, some women want to have kids, and they've got a certain age. You know, some women, they've set up standards and said, at this age, I must marry this age, I must be, you know, having a husband. And also looking at the stereotypes, our culture as African, we were raised by that. We were raised and told that, okay, after finding a job, you have kids, you have a husband, a good husband. And that's how we were raised. But I personally feel I want to go beyond those stereotypes and change narratives. With me, it's all about changing narratives and doing what's best for me, not what is best for the community. So if you feel like you want to nurture that emotional aspect in your life and you're comfortable with that, you go for it. You know, and if that is fulfilling for you and for your journey, you go for it. Remember, we've got different journeys as women. We've got different goals. My goal is to build an empire for my next generation. That's my main focus. And other women, their focus is not that. Their focus is they want to have kids. They want to have, which is not bad. It's also great. You know, you just have to choose what's best for you. And you have to, you know, go for it. Go for what's best for you, what is suitable for you. And if that's fulfilling you, you go for it. No one is going to judge you. And of course, I mean, like I said, our African culture, we would just say, okay, at this certain age, if you don't have kids, if you don't have a husband, they look at you in a certain way. I mean, if I go back to my community, they always ask me question, when are you getting married? When are you having kids? You know, I mean, I'm trying to change narrative here. You know, I'm trying to build something sustainable, which I could be the first generation in my family to build this thing. So I want that for myself. And if I decide to have kids, at least my kids will have something great to hang on, you know? So you find a lot of women, they stay in these relationships and they are not happy. They can't pursue their dreams. They remain stagnated, can't live ambition, which is very sad. And it's happening a lot in African countries. So I think as a woman, you have to decide what you want and you stick to it.
Okay, thank you. Let me get the perspective of Mr. Gilbert Ewane on this particular topic. I think many people are sending me messages, inbox. They seem to be very interested in this particular aspect of it because, of course, I mean, one of our roles here in 90 Minutes in Africa is I want to also promote female entrepreneurship. We want women because, you know, women are very, very good when it comes to management. Women are very good when it comes to organization. But most of the time, men cage them. You know, they say, okay, no, you cannot go above this. You know, it's like, I'm already a CEO. You can also be a CEO because we are not going to agree in the house. So what do you tell young girls who come up to you, Mr. Ewane, asking you, you know, I want to pursue my dreams as an entrepreneur. I want to own a big company, but my husband wants me to be a housewife. He doesn't want me to pursue my dreams. What do you tell them?
It is simple. Any man who will not want to encourage, empower a woman, then the man is not fit to live in this earth. Women empowerment, economic empowerment is the key. Like you rightly said, women are best managers. We have powerful women who have created businesses and they have become billionaires. One of them that I just discussed, had a conversation with just a few days ago, is our famous Mami Nyanga here in Cameroon, who owns Hotel Franco in Cameroon and in London. So you see, women, they can do a lot. But unfortunately, our environment, our African context, our cultural systems and so on, at times it becomes very critical, very disturbing for women to venture on their own economy, on their own space. So it becomes a problem. But it's up to the women. Just like Portia said, women need to take the challenge. They need to take the challenge and go for it. I insist, they need to take the challenge and go for it. But on the other hand, women, they need to work closer, hand in hand with their men. And men as well, they need to empower. At Yes Cameroon, an organization I founded some 15 years back, one of our key roles is to empower the young girls. And we have been running a lot of training programs for especially the young IDPs, female women, on business management, business creation, on income generating activities. Because they need to be independent. They need to have their means. You will see how many women today, for example, when we talk about political influence, how many women can influence because they don't have the financial means. So women need to get involved in business for them to be economically independent. And all they can do is, first of all, structure, know exactly what they want before they can achieve their dreams or their vision.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Before I get to Precious Solar, of course, he's traveling to Abuja. He's on transit, and he joined us. Before I get to him, there is someone that has just sent me a message. Of course, you know, many students have been celebrating after passing their end of course examinations, the General Certificate of Education. Across Africa, some of them are celebrating, but I've been talking to some and they seem to still be very confused at this point. I mean, I've not spoken to anyone that really had a clear path about what he or she wanted to do, because I took time to be calling them to encourage them. I said, oh, I saw you passed in this number of papers, but I don't really know, what do you want to become? They're like, I'm looking into it, I don't know. You see, so we have a situation, the parents have celebrated, but at the same time, very soon some of them will start crying because the children will seem to be like a nuisance in the house. And one of them contacted me because he did had literature, French, and history as subjects at the General Certificate of Education advanced level. I was trying to ask for a career path based on the challenges, the era in which we find ourselves. Which kind of advice can you give to this person that has literature in English, French, and history in terms of what can they do in higher education to professionalize their education?
Yeah, that's a good one. Like Riley said, a lot of these young people, many of them, they have graduated from high school and they're moving to university. And after 3 years, they'll be hunting jobs. They'll be thrown out in the job market. A few days ago, I was discussing one of the young girls in my office, and I asked her, "What do you want to do after she just got the baccalaureate? How do you call it?
Baccalaureate.
Baccalaureate. So she just got it, and
which is the equivalent
of the advanced level.
Yes.
Yeah. I asked her, "What do you want to do?" She told me she wants to write the public service exams. So you see our mindset. A young girl just got the advanced level, and all she wants to do now is to write the public service exams, either economy or whatever. So these are not the kind of things we need to encourage our young people. First, after that, those who want to pursue their educational level to move further, they can first of all see exactly like I said earlier, make research which are the sectors that is booming in this 21st century, in this our period right now. We have one of the key is technology. Technology is there. You have agribusiness is there. You have renewable energy is there. You have logistics. All these are key sectors that if you venture, you go through a training program, when you come out, you will not lack a job. Either you are employed or you'll be able to create your own employment. So it's important for young people to be well guided. It's unfortunate that we have career guidance counselors in schools, but unfortunately they themselves, the career guidance counselors, they need to be guided as well, because some of them just went through economal and came out and became career guidance counselors. But they have much, they have to supersede that. They have to move further to that for them to guide these our young people going to universities, going to these professional schools and so on. So I think it is up to the parent as well to guide their children at home, and it is up to the person as well. The young man need to identify what is so passionate about and pursue a career path or a training that he or she wants to do.
Thank you. Let me get this to Precious. Precious, would like to know from you, how can we redesign our curriculum here in Africa to be able to push young people towards having a mindset of job creation in the continent? I don't know whether, I think we've surely lost Precious there. I get to Portia. Portia, this question is for you too. How can we redesign our curriculum to be able to ensure that young people have the right mindset that can help them move towards job creation opportunities?
Yes. Personally, I feel like, Aris, we have to start kids from the early age. You know, starting to, teach them about entrepreneurship, teach them about technology, and starting them from the early age, that will prepare them when they get to the level of, when they get to the age of 18, they already know what they can do out there in the world, other than studying the curriculum when the university, studying everything in university. So personally, I feel like as young entrepreneurs, we should come together and formulate new policies that will favor this young generation that is before us, and implement those curriculum in schools, and creating programs that will teach young people how to be job creators, rather than just being, ordinary employees. And of course, that's starting by us coming together and formulating some partnership. If you look at initiative like Accelerate Africa, and that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to make sure that we bring potential, industries or companies that could come together and formulate these programs to ensure that we help young people and start them from the early age. We start with them from an early age, so that we prepare them for the corporate world, so to be job creators. If you look at countries like Dubai, Dubai is doing exceptional well. Their government is very supportive towards entrepreneurs. Those guys, they create things, they create amazing solutions. But it didn't just happen, right? Their government and their leadership, they had to come, sit down and formulate new policies that accommodate their entrepreneurs to ensure that they thrive. So we also need to create an ecosystem that thrives, an ecosystem that is supportive, create a financial, ecosystem that will support our entrepreneurs. And that goes down to, because we cannot wait for our government to do everything, which is, I think it's highly impossible. We as young entrepreneurs, we are seeing what's needed out there. We can come on board, together and start restructuring things and start working together and start formulating these policies to make sure that at least these young upcoming, they will have a better chance to thrive, a better chance to come up with new ideas. That's how I see it. That could be really, we can create possibilities in that sense, and to ensure that we prepare our young people to be more job creators in Africa.
Okay, before I get to Mr. Ewane here in the studio, there's this question that has just come in from a young lady. The question is directed to you, Portia. The question is directed to Portia. The young lady says, hello, says to you in the studio, Portia, my name is Benis. I just passed the advanced level GC, General Certificate of Education in Accounting. Please help me with what I can do with. I don't know if I continue with accounting in the university. Will it be good, or I should just do something else that can make me own my own business? I am 20 years old. Or which field of entrepreneurship can you direct me towards? Wait to hear from you. Thanks. Portia, I'm sure you got the question.
Okay. I think first and foremost, we need to find out what is her passion. What are you passionate about? Because I can advise you and say, take the entrepreneurship, or to find out that's not your passion. Because I think what's important is that you need to discover what are you passionate about. That is the first point of call. You can do accounting, probably later in life, you want to change to something else. So if you've already done the accounting, if you are passionate about accounting, I would say you continue with it. If that's what your passion is, it's where you see yourself excelling in that particular sphere or in accounting, I would say that continue with accounting, look for opportunities that are related to accounting. If entrepreneurship is your passion as well, you go for it. Passion is the main thing that you need to discover. If what are you passionate about? I think that's the most, that will give you a clear path. The minute you find what are you passionate about, you will have a clear path in your life. And she's still young. She's 20, right?
Yes.
And at that age, 20, yes. So she's still young. She still have time to explore, to figure it out. What is exactly that you want? What is exactly that you want? So you can try to look at the accounting since you've started that journey already. Look at what are the potential. What are the potential for growth in that industry, and how can you make sure that you explore those opportunities and to accelerate your career to the next level? I mean, you can maybe give yourself probably some time, because I think young people as well, we run so much to do different things that you can't be the master of all you can't be a jack of all trades.
Thank you, Portia. I think I'm going to ask the question to Mr. Ewane, but in a different light.
She's training.
Yes.
After 5 years, if you figure out this is not what I want, then you can change. But I think you have to master one thing. Try to master one thing, find your passion, and then you will have a clear direction from there.
Thank you, Mr. Ewane. We have so many people that have passions in a particular domain, but at one point in time, they discover that probably they have a passion and they are skilled or gifted in that particular domain, but that domain cannot really put food on their table, or let me put it this way, what they take home from that domain cannot really take them home. Would you advise them to drop that passion and embrace a more challenging opportunity that they might not be very passionate about, just to be able to put food on the table?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. To be clear on that, it is important, because how do you start a business? You start a business by identifying a problem, and you want to bring a solution to that problem. So one of the things that a lot of young people fail to understand is they think when you start up a business, in the first 2-3 years, you need to already start making money. That is all wrong. And I always have 4 keywords in business. Number 1 is a business idea. Number 1 is a mission. Number 1 is a vision. And the last one is a passion. Passion is a driving force. So once you have a business idea and you are not passionate about the business idea, then you will let it go. That is why, and when you are starting a business, you are so passionate about a business idea, and you are not putting, the business idea is not putting food on your table, just redesign the business strategy. And because it's your passion, you are passionate about it. So why will you abandon it? Because maybe you are not making it. Most often is because they want to make it so quick. That's the key challenge. I always say business has 2 key phases. The first phase is from 0 to 10 years, where you need to nurture and mature the business by evaluating your sweat equity, all of this. And the second phase is from 10 to 20 years. That's where you start making money. But unfortunately today, any young man wants to start businesses, wants to start making money first, second year. That is why they have to abandon in the second, third year, because they're not making money. You remember, business, you need to have a lot of resilience in business. So passionate is key. Don't abandon your passion because you are not making money, or because it's too early and so on. Follow your passion. Design the strategy and so on. And one of the key important things is some of them fail to understand that once you start having your business idea and you are passionate about it, you need mentorship, you need coaching, you need to design your business model. How are you going to make money from this passion? It's very important, because once you are designing your business model through your business model canvas, you design your pitch deck, you design this, you design and so on, and then most important thing is you need to be resilient. Business is all about resilience. Business strategies is very important. Business marketing is very important. If you are selling a product and you design the product, you need to be sure you're going to have market for this product. So that's one of the key things. People just validate their business idea, validate their product without making a thorough market research. It's important to combine all of that.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert Ewane. I think I will need to get now to Precious Solar to ask him this question, because he is an expert in business development too, and a business development coach. I think Precious has been very influential in drawing business pitch decks, the business development plans, executive summaries, and all what is needed to set up a business. He has been very influential in doing that in Africa. I would say he has set up more than 1,000 business development plans, pitch decks, and so on and so forth. So I want to know from you, Precious Solar, there are 2 ways. There are some people who just get up in the morning and they say, okay, I want to build a restaurant. I'm getting into it. He builds a restaurant and he starts doing it. And there are others who decide to write a pitch deck, do all what you think you know, the pitch deck, the business development plan, and all of that. Which is the right path to choose when it comes to setting up a business? What really guarantees success?
All right, thank you so much. So I'll be talking from two different angles. And I hope you can hear me clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I hope you can hear me too.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so I'll be talking from two angles. So one, it's very important. So when people, the first question to ask is, why do you want to start this business, right? Most times, it's to solve a problem, right? Or to fill a need. Either to solve a problem or to fill a need. And then the second thing is, I mean, most other times people want to start a business to make money and all of that. Of course, I'm not saying any of this is wrong, but the very first thing, primary thing, is doing a market research. I think Portia has talked about this earlier on. So before you start a business, you need to do your market research. It's very important to have this passion. It's very important to see a need you can fuel and all of that. But you need to ensure that you do a market research. So there are three key things I would say that makes a business successful. One is a good product or a good service. You need to ensure that you are delivering a good service. You need a good product. Then the next thing is your team. You need to ensure that you have the necessary team to execute your idea, to execute the business from start to finish. It's very, very important. If you have the resources to hire full time, you can hire part time. You can hire on a part time basis, but it's very, very important, right? Then the other thing also is execution. It's very, very important. It's not just enough to have an idea and all of that. It's possible for two businesses or two startups to be doing the same thing, and over time, one of them is going to scale and become successful just because of the rate at which they execute, right? So those pieces are very, very important. So as your market stage, it tells you develop your business plan. It tells you a pitch that all of that are still on market research. But you need to ensure that you do your market research to ensure that
Thank you so much.
the market.
I'm getting you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sola's network doesn't seem to be very good. I think I'll get now to, I think I should get to Portia before I come to Mr. Ewane in the studio. We have to get to Portia now. Portia, it is true that in the course of the show, we are left with less than 10 minutes to the end of the show. So we are about to draw our own conclusions. But before we do that, it is true that, you know, when we talk about entrepreneurship and all of that, when we see them succeed, when we see them ride in big cars, you know, we just have the impression that this is a very easy ride. You know, I'm going to put in this amount of money, and in a few years, of course, I'm going to be riding in a big car. We don't know the kind of stress that some of them have gone through. And I think too that probably you too, as an entrepreneur in South Africa, I'm sure you must have gone through some stress. I mean, in that part of Africa. So how do entrepreneurs, how should you beat the stress of entrepreneurship? Because I know it is never an easy ride. At your own, level, I want to know from your personal perspective, how did you beat the stress of entrepreneurship? Because I know it comes with a lot of stress too.
Thank you, Aris. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be very honest and be blunt. Entrepreneur, it's not an easy journey, and it's not rosy as it seems. We put a lot of hard work behind it. We go through a lot of frustration behind it. You know, you deal with employees here. You've got people that work with you that are dependent on you. And sometimes you work with different suppliers. At the end of the month, sometimes, you know, people need to know that there will be months where you have no income, where there will be months where you are just paying only your employees, and you as a founder of the company, you don't get any money. So I always you know, on my talks, I emphasize this, I don't want to sugarcoat that entrepreneurship is an easy journey. It's not. It's a very harsh, you know, hard, expensive journey, because, you know, along the journey or along the process of building this organization, you're going to lose money. you're going to lose employees. You're going to lose yourself. Like you actually forget even who you are yourself, because you are, your mind, your whole being is consumed to this organization that we're trying to build, which is lead to a lot of frustration and stress. But the best way to avoid that is it's always good to have, you know, the coach that can walk the journey with you, and, you know, take some, you know, free time for yourself. Like if you have to go for a spa the weekend, just go for a spa and get that, you know, realization and all of that, because the
Okay, I think we're having problems with Portia's sound there. We get to the studio now. Portia, we're going to get back to you. Your sound is having a little issue, so we're going to get back to you. Mr. Gibedeweme, Portia just mentioned something here. I'm going to get back to her, after this, to know what she's been doing at the level of Accelerate Africa, especially as the vice chair of that of the organization. But I want to know from you, Mr. Gibedeweme, she just mentioned something which many people might not really be aware of. The fact that entrepreneurs and sometimes employers sometimes go through a lot of stress in this journey of entrepreneurship. She says that there are some employers sometimes who manage just to pay their employees without having anything on the table. That is, they have to borrow money to pay their employees. But we don't seem to see that. So at what point in time in entrepreneurship, what gives you the force to keep on going when you feel like, okay, it's time to give up?
Yeah, that's a good one. For starters, I always say in entrepreneurship, we have 3 keywords. Business idea, that is the idea, plus the team gives you the capital. So once you identify your business idea, you need to organize a powerful, committed team. This team will give you the seed capital. Entrepreneurship is a tedious journey. That is why you find a lot of these young people, they're avoiding it. They want to work for someone, they want to work for the public service and so on. So entrepreneurs, they go through a lot. They go through a lot, especially when they don't have the right team. Now, the employees might be thinking, coming to your question, that there are some entrepreneurs, there are some employers that might want to grab everything, very greedy, and they don't want to pay their employees or whatever. I think that's another set of employers or entrepreneurs. Now, there are some employers, some entrepreneurs that they make sure they communicate the vision of the company to the employees, such that the employees or the company becomes part and parcel of the employees. Because once you don't communicate your vision to the employees, they will not take you serious. It becomes a problem. There will be a lot of difficulties and all. So entrepreneurs, ventures, owners, and so on, they have a critical role to play in building their team. And they have to design systems. They have to design procedures, especially when it comes to employee systems, employees procedures, on company management and so on. Because remember, those that are putting in as well, they need to be satisfied. They need to have a career long-term plan, and for them to have a brighter future for themselves and for their families. Coming back to entrepreneurs' difficulties, entrepreneurship is not chocolate, I always say. It's one of the difficult career that anybody might want to take. But like I said earlier, once you are passionate about it, it becomes so easy. Entrepreneurship is difficult, but when you are passionate about it, it becomes so easy. And I repeat it again, entrepreneurship has 2 phases. So once you start building your company about all those 2 phases, the most important thing is the passion. Because whether it is hard, it is soft, and so on, you bear the resources, you have to pay the bills. You have to pay the rent for those who are renting. You have to pay the employees, all those things. So you are not for making money. How do you cope with that? So it's all about designing a good system for the employees and for the company.
Thank you, Gibet Eweme. Precious Solar. I think we have a few minutes to the end of the show. Right now, I think we want to get you your concluding remark on the topic, walking the talk of business entrepreneurship in Africa. your advice to young people before we close the program? Precious is solar. I think we must have lost Precious here since he was on transit. Are you there, Precious? I think we've lost Precious. I get to you, Portia Masemula. Before you leave the show, of course, I understand that you are also the deputy chair of Accelerate Africa, which is out to encourage small and medium-sized enterprises in Africa to ensure that the business climate is good enough for Africans to be able to evolve. What has been your task so far at the level of Accelerate Africa?
I think it's a very good initiative, and I'm really honored to be part of it. And it's all about driving the African economies and, empowering young entrepreneurs in Africa, and also making sure that we've got, formulating some partnership with, relevant stakeholders. So for me, it's been really a fruitful journey. I've joined Africa since it was launched in Rwanda, which was last year. So it's almost a year since I've been part of this initiative. And so far, we've been doing a really amazing work in Africa. I mean, recently we just had the boot camp in Cameroon, which was very successful, implemented. I mean, I saw young people coming out with ideas. I saw young people being excited of embarking in the journey of entrepreneurship. So I feel like there's a huge huge potential with Excellent Africa to change and to bring change in African countries, and to bring some hope into the young entrepreneurs in Africa. So I'm really honored, and I'm really honored to be part of the initiative. And of course, we will be we're not only just looking around, Cameroon or Rwanda. We've got about 16, coordinators across Africa. So there's a whole lot of work that we are doing. And of course, we are looking for, even when I'm here, like in Germany, I'm still looking for international partners that could come on board, so that we can build Africa forward and accelerate Africa forward, and provide meaningful opportunities to our young African entrepreneurs in Africa. So yes, it's a very good, and I would encourage a lot of young people out there in Africa to really subscribe to our platform and check what are the opportunities there and how can you get involved. Young people need to get involved in this initiative, because we created this initiative to accommodate young entrepreneurs and young people in Africa. We are fighting the unemployment. We are fighting the unemployment issues. Already we have the high rate of that, and which I personally firmly believe with our Excellent Africa, and that's what we're trying to solve these problems by providing meaningful opportunities to the young entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Portia. Mr. Ewane, coordinator and chairman of Accelerate Africa, CEO of Startup Cap, CEO of Real Estate and Assets Management, managing director of Yes Cameroon. I can go on and on. I want to really thank you. I don't know whether you have your last piece of advice to young entrepreneurs across Africa before we close the show.
Thank you so much, Boh Elvis. Thank you for hosting and having us in this wonderful show, 90 Minutes in Africa. It's a very good initiative. I have one key remarks. First, the African government. Africa is blessed with enormous resources, both natural, human, whatsoever. But unfortunately, Africa government still depend on aid. We need to change that mindset. Aid will not take us anywhere, but trade will take us somewhere. Number two, young people across Africa, they need to change their mindset. They need to change their mindset. They need to believe in Africa and think and know that it's only us that can transform Africa. And for us to transform Africa, for us to have the Africa that we want, we need to engage in policy development. We need to engage in economic development, because economic development is the key. So we need to create more jobs. How do we create more jobs? We need to become entrepreneurs. We need to become corporate employees for us to transform the African continent and get the Africa that we want.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gilbert Ewane. I want to thank you. Precious Isola, I want to thank you so much for accepting the invitation today. Despite the fact that you were on transit, you decided to participate in the program while your driver was, taking you on transit. I want to thank you so much. And I want to thank you so much, Portia Masimula, for your input during the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be part of us.
Thank you so much, Aris. I truly enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for having us.
Thank you so much to Mr. Gilbert Ewane. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are drawing the curtains for your favorite program, 90 Minutes in Africa. In today's edition of the show, we took a look at walking the talk of business entrepreneurship in Africa, during which our panelists and our guests and experts in the domain try to dissect what needs to be done to ensure that we walk the talk and push Africa towards the most trumpeted and awaited growth and development we've always been crying for. We had as guest today Mr. Gilbert Ewane, who is the chairman of Accelerate Africa. We had entrepreneur and tech expert from South Africa, Portia Masimula, and we had a business development expert and consultant, Precious Isola, who joined us from Nigeria. I want to thank those who sent questions on behalf of the management team of My Media Prime. Eli and Nolinga was the producer of the show, our technical crew. The show was coordinated by Kumulunat and supervised by Brian Tambe. At the microphone, I'm Boh Elvis. Thanking you for watching. See you next week for another edition of 90 Minutes in Africa, God willing. Bye-bye.
On dit que pour connaître un peuple, il faut écouter sa musique, car la musique, c'est du bruit qui pense.
Je viens du ghetto.
My Music Africa is here to provide it to you. Watch My Music Africa and discover Cameroon from north to south, from east to west. The beauty of the culture and much more. Ne ratez pas Afrobeat 237, le rendez-vous pour vos musiques urbaines camerounaises, every day on My Music Africa.
5 couteaux, tu as coupé mon cœur. 5 pistolets, tu as tiré mon cœur.
Believe that Jesus Christ is the band man.
Run the comedy for so long. I'm not gonna fight.
Je me dis grand problème. Je m'en vais à l'île, mais je ne parle pas l'anglais.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight he's here to do